A 27-year-old med student walks into a bar and never walks out. Surveillance shows him going in. No footage shows him leaving. How is that even possible? This is the truth behind the unexplained vanishing of Brian Shaffer. Brian Shaffer wasn't a drifter. He grew up in Pickerington, Ohio. Tall, 6 feet 2 inches. Smart. He earned a microbiology degree, then entered Ohio State's College of Medicine in 2004. Friends say he performed near the top of his class by 2005. He was also a music guy at heart, devoted to Pearl Jam, with their stickman tattooed on his right arm. On his MySpace, he once wrote that medicine felt like a job, but music was the dream. He was close to his family, especially his mother, Renee, a nurse. In March 2006, she died of myelodysplasia. It hit him hard. He leaned on his girlfriend, Alexis Wagoner, a fellow second-year med student. That Christmas, Renee gave the couple a spring break trip to Florida. Friends whispered that Brian would propose on that Miami getaway at the start of April. Friday, March 31st, 2006, last day of classes before spring break. That evening, Brian had steak with his father, Randy. He seemed tired from a week of exams, but he still planned a night out with his former roommate, William Clint Florence. Around 9 p.m., Brian met Clint at the South Campus Gateway. First stop, the Ugly Tuna Saloona, a busy second-floor student bar. He stepped outside and called Alexis at 9:56 p.m., telling her he loved her and was excited for Monday's flight. From there, the night spread like any campus bar crawl. Short North Tavern, then Brothers Bar and Grill, where they met Clint's friend Meredith Reed. Close to last call, Meredith drove the guys back to the Ugly Tuna. 1:15 a.m. The escalator camera captured the trio rising toward the entrance, Brian leaning on the handrail, casual, at ease. Inside, they drifted. Brian told Clint and Meredith he wanted to check out the band. Reports later clarified he didn't know the musicians. He was just curious. As closing drew near, the entryway camera picked up Brian again, this time near the top of the escalator, chatting briefly with two women. It was almost 2 in the morning. He walked out of frame toward the bar entrance. And then, nothing. Clint and Meredith searched inside, called his name, checked the men's room, then waited downstairs with the crowd filing out after 2 a.m. He didn't come down. They assumed he'd walked a few blocks to his apartment. By Saturday, Alexis called to talk about travel plans, straight to voicemail. Later calls, same story. On Sunday, she went to Brian's place. His car sat outside. Inside, nothing looked disturbed. No Brian. Monday morning, he missed the Miami flight. Randy filed the missing person report. Police started where they had to, the bar. The Gateway complex had cameras at the escalator and around the second floor. Reviewers tracked the trio up to the entrance at 1:15 a.m. At 1:55 a.m., Brian stood near the landing, speaking to the two women. After that, the camera never captured him exiting down the escalator. Investigators asked the obvious. Could he have disguised himself, hat, shirt change, and slipped past the lens? A senior investigator later said he could state with certainty,
"This is not the first case I've encountered where someone goes into a building and never comes out." What do you make of this surveillance video?
Well, Nancy, I think the most crucial aspect of this is those 5 minutes between 1:55 a.m. and when the bar closes at 2 a.m. He has two friends.
Brian did not go back down the escalator. That pushed focus to other routes. There was a service area door near the entrance, normally not for patrons. Behind it, a hallway on the first floor connected to a construction zone with its own exterior exit. One camera there panned automatically, another needed manual control. If either missed him at the wrong moment, that would explain the lack of footage. But walking that route sober would be tricky. Doing it after a night of shots? Tough. Inside the bar, an emergency exit on the right led to stairs down near the front. An alarm should sound when used. Locals said that alarm was often disabled late, and a camera was set to swing toward that door when tripped, unless the operator overrode the cycle. That system never publicly showed Brian leaving. Police have never released those interior tapes. A small second-floor patio existed too. Could someone jump from there? The drop was significant. A fall would likely cause serious injury. No such scene turned up. Officers widened the net. They pulled video from nearby bars. Nothing. They canvassed the area with K9 teams. They checked dumpsters and waste containers. They got permission to go into sewers. No sign. His car stayed where it was. His bank and credit remained quiet. His home held no struggle, no missing valuables. Flyers went everywhere. 6 feet 2 inches, light brown hair, glasses, Pearl Jam tattoo, distinctive iris fleck. What about the people with him? Detectives always start with the last known circle. Meredith took a polygraph and passed. Randy was tested too. Others who had contact that night were checked and cleared. Clint declined to take a polygraph. His attorney later said he'd already told everything he knew, and taking a test would add risk without value. When a grand jury subpoena followed, counsel indicated he would assert the fifth. Police did not name him a suspect. The refusal stirred public suspicion, but legally, declining a polygraph proves nothing. Those tests aren't reliable evidence in court. Why this case hooks people? This isn't a story with 100 clues. It's a story with one massive contradiction. A crowded camera-watch place that failed to capture the one thing everyone expects, a person leaving. If you accept there's no sci-fi doorway, then one of 3 plain answers must be true. 1. He exited on a path the cameras missed. 2. He never left in the ordinary way, and we haven't found how he moved through the building. 3. The tech or the review created a blind spot at the crucial moment. That's it. No magic. Just an ugly, stubborn gap. The last confirmed minutes. Set the table cleanly. Friday evening, dinner with his father. Later, bar hopping with Clint. Meet Meredith. Return to the ugly tuna. 1:15 a.m. Escalator landing, the trio together. Just before closing, Brian talks with 2 women near the top of the escalator. He angles back toward the entrance and is never recorded exiting. From there, silence. No texts answered, no withdrawals, no cameras outside catch him on the street. What police said. Early on, a retired sergeant who worked the case later called the construction route the only plausible path that wouldn't show up on the main camera. At the time, officers said they checked the neighboring theater and swept the building top to bottom. They found no proof of a fall or a hidden interior space. He left through a worker area idea remained just that, an idea. No tape put him on that path. The bar kept operating. Days turned to weeks. The building changed over time. No remains surfaced. Right after Brian missed the flight, his phone wasn't connecting. Calls went straight to voicemail. Days later, investigators activated network checks. Early hits suggested the device had been powered down around the time friends were leaving the bar. Weeks passed. Then came a strange pattern. Pings tied to his number appeared on towers west of campus, first near Lane Avenue, then farther out. Eventually, activity reached Hilliard, roughly 14 miles northwest of the city, with one note near Darby Creek. The movements didn't look like a stationary phone. They looked like a device traveling in a car. No calls connected, no texts were returned. Months later, there was a night when Alexis dialed, and instead of going straight to voicemail, the phone rang. 3, 4 rings, then voicemail. It rang again for others trying later. The carrier explained it might be a network artifact, towers searching for a device that wasn't truly reachable. To Brian's family, the sound was hope. To police, it was noise without a clean lead. The ringing stopped. The pings faded. When scent dogs were brought in, they followed clothing-based samples around the building's back. The track led south down Pearl Alley and alerted behind a Wendy's lot known to be rough late at night. There were signs of vomit or urine in that area, consistent with someone who'd been drinking. Past that point, the trail went cold. If accurate, that path supports one premise. Brian made it out of the building. What people think happened. 1. He slipped out unseen, then met foul play. The simplest explanation is also the most ordinary. He finds a staff corridor or emergency stair, lands outside camera view, and walks toward home. It's late. He's had shots. Pearl Alley is dark. A stranger offers a ride, a party, a sale. A quick assault unfolds. A car door shuts. Evidence stays contained. No street camera catches the moment. If a body were hidden in a vehicle or tossed where recovery is unlikely, the trail would vanish fast. Some stretch that into a dumpster to landfill scenario. Investigators did consider trash routes. Nothing confirmed it. Others say a nearby lot was quiet enough at 2 a.m. for an abduction to go unnoticed. That fits the silence afterward. No bank use, no calls, no verified sighting. 2. He died in the construction area. Another common theory says he misunderstood a door, wandered into a worker zone, fell into a gap, or got stuck in a crawl and was missed, then entombed when work resumed. Early on, a sergeant described that space as torn up, a maze even when sober. Later comments from detectives downplayed deep hazards. Locals argued the site was small, more like remodeling than excavation, and police were in there quickly. Concrete pours are deliberate. A human body is not a loose nail you miss on a slab check. No photo set of the exact overnight layout was ever released, so the argument never fully dies. But the phone activity cuts against a same-night burial. A buried or submerged device wouldn't be pinging days later. 3. He walked away to start over. Brian had talked about beaches and bands. He spoke Spanish. People remembered lines about St. John or St. Thomas. He'd asked Alexis in the grief window after his mother's death to run away with him, then told her to move on when he wasn't sure he could. There was reported tension with his father over insurance and tuition. He carried credit card debt. Some unverified claims said he never cashed a tuition check. On paper, he could have chased a different life, especially somewhere in U.S. territories where a passport wouldn't be required in 2006. The problems are big. No withdrawal trail, no documented planning, a car left behind, and total silence for years. People who reinvent themselves usually slip. They call home on holidays or leave a paper flake, however small. Here, there's nothing solid. 4. He never left the building. A few argue he died inside and was hidden. Ideas include concealment in infrastructure or instrument cases. Police say they checked top to bottom and found no such scene. Dogs didn't alert to death scent inside at the time. The bar resumed business. And again, the later tower activity is tough to square with a body in a wall. 5. He was targeted by a serial pattern. People bring up the disputed smiley face theory, young intoxicated men, water recoveries, a spray paint mark. Agencies, including the FBI, have dismissed it. Brian's case lacks the key feature of that pattern: a found body in water. Linking him in stretches speculation past what's there. 6. A spillover from another case. Brian and OSU student Julie Popovich attended the same high school. She vanished months earlier. A man was convicted. Some suggest a connection. Witness talk of a tall man in a blue polo the night Julie disappeared, or the idea Brian saw something and was silenced. Officials have never tied the cases. Beyond proximity and rumor, there's no substance. 7. Late-night drugs and a wrong crowd. Another theory paints the night as a hunt for more party. He separates near closing, meets someone promising a hookup or cocaine, steps into a car, and is gone. The evidence is thin. There's no record of a deal, no identified dealer, no camera catch of a rendezvous outside. It remains one of many could-be explanations. What about the people around him? Meredith cooperated and passed a polygraph. Randy did too. Clint refused on counsel's advice, later indicating through his attorney that police believed Brian might be alive and that another test wasn't necessary. To the family and Alexis, the refusal felt wrong. They don't accuse him of murder. They believe he knows more than he has shared. Officially, police have not labeled him a suspect. A few days after he vanished, someone thought they saw him at a 7-Eleven. Security video showed it wasn't him. On a road trip, a woman swore a waiter with a Brian S. name tag was a match, but the police found no such employee. In 2019, a photo of a homeless man in Tijuana circulated online because of the resemblance. FBI facial recognition ruled him out. September 2008. A windstorm. A tree branch falls, and Randy Shaffer is killed in his own yard. As neighbors and family grieved, someone posted on Randy's obituary, "To Dad, love Brian, U.S. Virgin Islands." Investigators traced it to a public computer in Franklin County. Not the islands, not Brian. Just a hoax. Years after the disappearance, a lead detective told a magazine he reviewed the footage thoroughly and could say with 100% certainty that Brian did not go back down the escalator. Police said they kept 3 working theories but wouldn't share them. In 2021, the state released an age-progressed photo of what Brian might look like in his 40s. Tips still trickle in. None has opened the door. Between Brian's disappearance and Randy's death, Randy pushed for Ohio to create a statewide protocol for missing adults. The bill became law. It was a way to make sure the next family wouldn't face a patchwork response when time matters most. And there it is. One of the most baffling vanishings in modern true crime. A med student with plans. A camera with blind spots. A city still asking the same question. How do you go into a bar and never come out? Which part of this case stands out most to you? The phone pings, the scent trail, or the missing exit? Do you think Brian left to start over, met the wrong person, or vanished in an accident nobody saw? Let us know in the comments below.